A simple act? Or a deeply ingrained social system that affects millions of lives around the world? In today's video, we'll dive into the history of tipping, how it shapes the service industries, the real consequences for both workers and customers, and how it compares to countries that don't rely on tipping at all. Get ready, because what seems like a small choice at the table has much bigger implications than you might think. Tipping actually began in medieval Europe as a way for aristocrats to show off their wealth. It wasn't until the 19th century that tipping spread to America, after wealthy Americans brought the custom back from their travels. But in the US, tipping took on a different meaning. Especially after the abolition of slavery, many freed black workers were pushed into low-paying service jobs where tipping became a substitute for wages, not just a bonus. So from the very start, tipping in America had a complicated and often exploitative foundation. Today, tipping is expected in almost every part of the American service industry. Restaurant servers, bartenders, baristas, taxi drivers, hotel staff, hairdressers, they all rely heavily on tips to survive. The U.S. federal minimum wage for tipped workers is just $2.13 an hour. And while some states require higher wages, many workers still depend on tips for the majority of their income. This leads to an unstable, unpredictable life. One bad shift, a slow season, or even a rude customer can mean the difference between making rent or not. And here's another reality. Tips aren't guaranteed. They're subject to the customer's mood, biases, or even things beyond the worker's control, like the food taking too long because of a kitchen mistake. Studies have found that tipping can reinforce discrimination. Women, especially women of color, often receive lower tips. Workers have reported putting up with harassment or mistreatment from customers, fearing that speaking up could cost them their tips and their livelihood. Tipping doesn't just impact workers. It also affects customers, leading to confusion, pressure, and even anxiety about how much is the right amount to tip. Is 15% enough? 20%? More? And what about when the service wasn't great? Should you still tip? Customers end up shouldering the burden of deciding a worker's paycheck. Now let's travel across the world. In places like Japan, tipping is not only uncommon, it's sometimes considered rude. Service workers there take pride in their work and expect to be paid fairly by their employers, not by customers. The idea is, excellence in service should be the standard, not something extra that must be rewarded. In Australia and much of Europe, service workers are paid a full living wage by law. And if tipping happens at all, it's small, maybe rounding up the bill or leaving a few coins, and never expected. Customers can relax, knowing the price they see is the final price. And workers can focus on doing their jobs without worrying about how many dollars they'll make in tips that day. Of course, some argue that tipping motivates workers to provide better service. They say it gives customers direct control over rewarding good work. But critics argue that tipping creates inequality, exposes workers to economic insecurity, and allows employers to avoid paying fair wages. In countries without tipping, service tends to be consistent, not because of the hope for tips, but because workers are trained and treated as professionals from the start. Interestingly, the conversation around tipping is shifting even within the US. Some restaurants are experimenting with no tipping policies, raising menu prices and paying their staff higher base wages. But it's controversial. Higher menu prices can scare customers away, and some workers worry they'll actually make less without the chance to earn tips. It's a complicated issue with no one-size-fits-all answer, yet. At the heart of it all is a simple question. Should financial security for workers be based on the goodwill of strangers? Or should it be a guaranteed right? As global travel becomes easier and cultures continue to blend, the future of tipping and the way we value service work may look very different in the years to come. What do you think? Should tipping stay or go? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more insights into the systems that shape our world. What other global issues would you like us to explore? Tell us in the comments.